Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you're all doing very well. I don't know about you guys, but the last few weeks have felt very wobbly, is the best word that I can find for it. I don't know if it's the retrograde or the full moon or the new moon or whatever planetary placements is going on right now, but the last few weeks has just been really interesting. And I'm going to share more with you. I'm currently part of a business mastermind. We're about halfway through our container right now. It started in July and it has been amazing. My business has evolved so much since being part of this mastermind. And even in the months leading up to it, I had to been taking big steps in making the business what it is. But once the mastermind started, it really amplified what the business was about, what the business wants to do, and all that sort of thing. And the thing about being part of a mastermind, especially a business mastermind like this, is that you are in such close proximity with women who will inspire you, who will expand you, but they will also trigger the crap out of you. And ultimately, it is up to us how we navigate through those triggers and how we use those triggers to actually empower us to move forward, take bigger steps, or really reevaluate what our truth is. And that's what I've had to do a lot in the last couple of months, and especially in the last few weeks. And there are some days where it really amplified the imposter syndrome in me and the overwhelm of how much there is to overcome, how much there is to learn, how much there is to do, and the question of, will I ever get there? And then there are some days where I just feel on top of the world, where my productivity has just skyrocketed for weeks at a time, and that ideas were just flowing out of me, and the clarity has just been crystal. And there was no question that I will get to where I want to go. And this fluctuation, I've just learned to embrace it as part of the journey to building my business, creating the life that I want to create, and the big picture, the vision that I want to create. And that's the thing about evolving in a space that is such a big part of your life. For me, business is a huge part of my life. I spend so much time, so much energy, so much effort into it that it's hard for it to not affect the other parts of my life. And so I've really had to take time to really reflect on how creating my business, building my business is going to affect my life, my well-being, my family, my community, my social life, all of that. And from that place, how I was going to be able to build my dream life. And isn't that just such a romanticized term? There was a point in time where that term really irked me in a sense that it's so cliche and so icky that it really triggered me. But there is no other term that really describes the life that I want to create so well, right? It is a dream, the life that I want to create. And when I really deep dive into what it looks like for me, what dream life meant for me, what the micro moments look like, what the day-to-day moment would look like, what experiences that I want to experience in this so-called dream life, it really came down to one thing. It is the freedom, whether it's financial freedom, time freedom, freedom of space. I've really had to come and own that. Because once I've owned that, once I made the decision that that is what I want to create in my life, the transformation began. I became really unapologetic in making decisions in my business and in my life that would support the creation of that. And in this moment, in this evolution of me, the way that I will create this freedom is through my business. There is no other way. I mean, of course, there are other ways. Like I could go into full-time work to create that financial freedom, but that wouldn't give me the time freedom that I desire. It never will. The other option is to pursue my business full time, go all in, spend all of my time, all of my energy into it so that I can make it happen faster. But that doesn't give me the financial flexibility that I desire to have in my life right now that would support the life that we want to live and the business that I want to create. And so I'm kind of struggling between both worlds right now. I'm working a 9 to 5 and I'm building my business. And doing these both definitely don't give me the space, freedom as much as I desire. But I've come to accept that because this is the season that I'm in right now. And I know that this season will come to an end at some point. I'm deep in build mode right now and deep in the work, and I'm really enjoying it. Even with the roller coaster of emotions, even with the highs and the lows, I really enjoy the evolution of the person that I've become, the person that I see myself becoming, and also the life that I'm about to create for myself. And I started this business to experience a sense of freedom from being self-led. The thing about working for yourself, though, and building your own business is that you are in charge. That can be either a good thing or a scary thing, right? And no one is there to keep you accountable. No one is there to be responsible for you and your business. No one is there to make decisions for you, especially the difficult decisions. And no one is going to tell you when you made a mistake or when you fucked up. You have to own that 100% of the time. And this is something that I've had to come to terms with in the last few months. And it's definitely something I haven't prepared for, but fully embrace now as part of the journey. And with all of that comes the responsibility of owning my limitations. And with the limitations comes the necessity to be creative and innovative with the way that I use my time, my space, and my money. And with that comes investing wisely. In July, I made a big investment in a mastermind, which is the one that I'm part of now. It is now September. I have just made another investment into my business and my growth. In a couple of weeks, I will be spending 7 intensive days in the training room. I'm talking about 12 to 14 hours for 7 days straight. It is going to be intense. It's going to be scary. It is going to be amazing. It's going to change everything, and I just know it. It's going to change how I lead myself, how I lead the business, how I lead my team, how I lead my life. It's going to change the way I serve my family, the way I serve my clients, the way I serve my community, and the way I serve myself. It's also exciting and also so scary at the same time. And I just want to take you behind the scenes of making this particular decision, because I feel like this is a decision that I made out of self-leadership and self-worthiness and just with a vision for the future. And it is a decision that sometimes can grapple us into doubt and we can use a lot of life circumstances to justify not doing or not making a particular decision. When this opportunity came to me, it was a no-brainer. My gut and my body was an instant yes. And the way that I found this trainer and this particular training was absolutely divine, and it happened so fast. I was scrolling through reels one night. It was quite late at night. And I was just scrolling through my reels and I came across this influencer who posted like a session that he had with this particular trainer. And she was an Australian trainer, and this influencer was American. And he didn't tag her or anything in the video. So I scrolled through the comments and I managed to find her Instagram handle. And I scrolled through her feed, scrolled through her website, her trainings and everything. And it all felt like divine timing, because I had looked into this kind of training for quite a while now, probably more than 18 months. And I haven't found one that I felt compelled to even close to saying, yes, let's do it. But something about this particular one really pulled me in. And in the days after this discovery and really thinking and seriously considering jumping into this training, someone I know had actually gone through this particular training in the past. So I messaged her and just asked about her experience and her feedback. And it all sounded exactly like what I wanted to experience. And so it was a no-brainer. I made the decision then and there that I was going to be a part of it. So then next came the logistics part of things. the logistics of making the time, the logistics of finding the funds, and the logistics of finding childcare. This is when everything became quite wobbly for me. See, that's what logic and ego does. And this is the classic unconscious mind versus conscious mind battle. A series of events then happened after this decision that really confirmed that this is the right decision for me. But at every point, I looked for signs to tell me to run the other way. Let's deep dive into it. So at the time, it was going to be a few weeks leading up to the training. So the training was going to be happening in October. I wanted to be part of the October intake because if it wasn't October, I would have to wait till July, which is something that I wasn't interested in entertaining. So it was going to be the October intake. And that gave me enough time to make plans for childcare, to move a couple of calls around, to pre-plan my lessons, do social media content, all of that stuff. But I was part of a mastermind. I still had work, still running my business, and now I want to take part in a 7-day intensive training. I'm taking on too much, right? That's what my ego and logic was telling me. Then came the investment, the money. With the way the economy is going right now, and everyone's really concerned about prices going up and all that sort of thing, it's not uncommon to want to be very careful with where each cent is going. Our household has been a little bit careful with our spending as well, and that's just how it is at the moment. But the week that I decided to get into this training, I kid you not, there were several unplanned deposits or credits into our bank account. Did not plan for it, did not know it was coming, but several deposits came into our account, which covered for the training, which will cover for childcare, and then some. I had to check that this money was legit, and it is. The immediate thought that came into my head that came from my logic/ego was that, well, this money is great, but I should really keep it for bills, upcoming bills, and save it for a rainy day, right? Then came the logistics of arranging for childcare. My husband Ollie works shift work, and with his work schedule and his leave being rejected, even with the few weeks of lead time, that's a story for another day. We had to make arrangements to hire a babysitter for the week to cover the gaps where I'll be in this training and when Ollie was going to be home to take care of Sophie. And money wasn't really the issue here, as we've talked about in the previous part with the money coming in. So it was more so the logistics of finding someone we trust and someone that Sophie was going to be comfortable with for that period of time, because it's going to be a full 7 days of her having to be with this person. Even if it's for a few hours at a time, it was going to be 7 days of her not really being able to see me apart from during breaks and in the early mornings and the late at nights. So it was important for us to find somebody that she was comfortable with and that maybe our friends or maybe our close friends have experiences with that can really vouch for this person who was going to look after Sophie. And we had a few options lined up. And in the days after, I actually paid the money for the course. One by one, the options started to not work out. And so immediately my mind went to, this is a sign that this is not the time for me to go into this training, that this training is not meant for me, that, it's not going to happen. And then just as though the universe heard me or the universe is looking after me and that everything is working out for me, I got a message from my mom to say that her and my dad are going to come and visit us for 4 weeks. And that period of time that they're going to be here is when I will be in that training. There is no better people to look after Sophie during that training than her grandparents. And so it seems like everything has lined up for me, right? And at every point in time, there was always doubt. There was always the looking for signs to run the other way. And isn't that just the classic story of internal struggles that we go through when making decisions that could ultimately change the course of our lives, of our business, of our growth? And this was really the prime opportunity for me to really discover how I would love to lead myself and how I would allow myself to be led. I could very easily let myself believe in all of the signs to tell me to run the other way, but I could just as easily lean into all of the signs that told me that this is the right decision for me. So I sent in my registration, I paid the money, I messaged the trainer, and I leaned in 100%. In the days after that, I fell ill. I was really, really sick. I woke up with a stuffy nose, with sore throat, and just generally feeling really lethargic. And when we walk through the gateway into the unknown, which this feels that way to me, our nervous system becomes dysregulated, and it takes time for it to catch up to the new level that we have just stepped into. It feels uneasy, it feels unsafe, and it feels so wobbly. So it's really important for us to investigate and discover what's the actual truth here. What's really happening? What's the actual fact? Do I feel unsafe because it is truly unsafe, or is it just unfamiliar? Do I feel wobbly because I am unworthy, or is it just that I am deepening in my beliefs? Do I feel uneasy because it is the wrong decision, or is it because it is the right move and it's scary? At every point, there is always the polar opposite to consider. There's always the opposites of the truths, and there is always another universe where you live out a different truth. So which path do you choose to be part of real reality today? They're all such important questions to call to query the big decisions that we make. And it's really made me reflect on all the choices that I've made in the past 12 months or even beyond to discover whether we make our decisions out of fear or out of self-worthiness. Is it out of desire or out of lack? Is it out of empowerment or out of uncertainty? There's no time like the present to really be more and more aware of how we are leading ourselves into our future. What is it that we want to create? What is it that we want to experience from today and in the next 12 months? What is it that we want to create? How is it that we want to live? And what it is that we want to become? So it's almost like I'm embarking on a journey from today onwards to the next 12 months. And I really want to invite you with me on this journey of transformation to my better self and to you, your better self. And it's really like a choose your own adventure story. Which way do you want to go next? We severely overestimate what we can achieve in a day, and often that leads to burnout, but we really underestimate what we can achieve in a year. And so from that space, a lot of us experience stagnation. Like year after year, we find ourselves in the same spot as we were previously. So when we go on this journey to really lean into the transformation, lean into the journey of creating what it is that we want to create in the next 12 months, it is really to rediscover our self-leadership, how we want to lead ourselves, to remembering the dream while being so open to the possibilities of what is available to us. So let's start the clock today. This is it. The decision to move towards everything that you desire and away from anything and everything that has kept you feeling unworthy or uncertain of your potential, of what you're here to create for yourself, for your family, for your community. So if you want to be part of this journey, send me a message on Instagram. I would love to include you in a community that I'm creating where we are going to support each other, teach each other, and keep each other accountable. I want to create a space for us to be able to feel safe, to be vulnerable, to ask questions, to lead ourselves in a way that we desire to be led. It's going to be a space where I'm going to be inviting in guest experts, hopefully in the future, to teach us on things that we want to and need to learn about to help us through this journey of growth over the next 12 months. We're here for the long game, right? We're here to create a life that we desire to live. And that isn't just in the next few months or in the next few years. It is beyond that. And this is the building block to creating that. And I really want to empower you to take the reins, take control, step into the driver's seat and lead yourself from a space of worthiness and from a space of empowerment, from a space of desire. So if you're coming with us, send me a message on Instagram. I will send you an invite to the Facebook group. Thank you for tuning into this episode. I will catch you in the next episode next week. In the meantime, I really look forward to hearing from you if you're going to embark on this journey with me. Feel free to send me a message on Instagram if you have any questions, or send me an email. I'll be happy to have a conversation with you. And bye for now.